Oh, and we're back. So today we're kind of looking at the elbow, kind of trying to figure out how the elbow works, kind of what's going on. And you've got these two bones, the humerus, and then that kind of goes into the radius, well, the ulna, and the radius in this area kind of moves around. I'm trying to simplify it to, where you've got the ball joint here coming into the shoulder, into the scapula, that comes down into this kind of shape. And you've got 2 points here. We call these epicondyles. I spelled this right, okay? You got one here, and you got one here, and that's on your bone. And then you got this. Let's get a different color here. Red, oh, pink. You got this bone which rotates here. That's your ulna. Okay, and that goes back and forth. And then here you have your elbow bone. That's the elbow. I'm getting this right. Okay, so the ball joint kind of can swivel, and then you've got this ulna that can go up and down, and then you have this third bone. Let's maybe try green. That it's the radii, and it's got this kind of round portion here that can kind of move this way, and it comes down into this flat portion, which then connects to the hand, right? And this little portion here, that's always going to your pinky finger. And then you've got your thumb here. So basically, this bone, the radius, what it does is it basically radiates, it rotates around the ulna. And so whereas here you see the top of your hand, when it rotates around, you would see the palm of your hand. So that as that rotates around, got that wider, because it starts from small, got a little round thing, and then it goes to this wide portion where it attaches. So that's kind of, it rotates around so that you can turn your hand up and down. So let's look at that again. Maybe I'll try to draw it a little bit easier, because once you understand the bones, then it's easier to kind of start thinking about the muscles and how they connect to the bones. Okay, so again, let's say we've got our here's our humerus, and that's going to attach into your scapula, Okay, and then this is attaches to your collarbone here. And this whole system, okay, it basically floats. It's not really attached to your rib cage. What it does is it floats around. It's connected by muscles and tendons, so that you have a lot of mobility. So we come down, and then this is going to come out like this. And this is more of a kind of an abstract view, because if you look at the underside of that bone, you have, you know, this kind of bow tie thing. You know, we'll get into that later. Right? So we've got the humerus, and this is the scapula, and then this would be your collarbone. Collarbone. And this kind of forms, it creates that yoke that basically sits on your rib cage. Okay, this kind of it sits on your rib cage so that your appendages can hang down. And this round part here, you have these, you know, these small protrusions, your scapulas that come down, and they connect. And then on the bottom here, your humerus is attached. Okay, so, you know, a lot of people will take that, and basically they'll just, you know, use this yoke thing to kind of very quickly kind of rough in their figure. You know, just kind of, you know, building in those big shapes. But the more that you kind of understand what's going on, you know, under these shapes, the more accurate you're going to be. And really, then it gets to be, once you know a little bit more, you can abstract. Or, you know, when you do cartoons or go left or right, or even if you're doing 3D, you can start to kind of understand what's going on, so that you can give the illusion of form, or the illusion that, you know, there's something real going on. Here we've got the elbow. There's your elbow. And then we've got both our epicondyles. Epicondyle. Okay. And one is lateral, one is medial. One is inside, one is outside. We're not going to worry about that right now. You can figure that stuff out later. But basically, you've got this kind of hinge system. And you can look at the ulna. Okay, and it's got your elbow, and it's got this little kind of rounded part, and then it narrows. It gets small, and then this goes to your small finger. Well, it's not really your small finger, but when you think about it, there's that little bump, okay, that you see, okay. Kind of up here. Okay, that's basic. That's your ulna. Okay, that's the end of your ulna as it's starting to make contact with all those little carpal bones there, and then coming out to your other bones. And we normally we create a shape, you know, that kind of rounded shape, you know, to kind of represent that. But that's not, we're thinking about the elbows right now. Okay, I'm trying to remember all of this stuff. Okay, so you've got that part, and then inside behind this, because this your arm here is kind of like, you know, he's got, you know, he's got his elbow turned out here. Okay, and it's probably a little short. I'm scribbling. Yeah, my character's, you know, short and stocky. I don't know why. I think he could be thinner. Okay, but you know, you see, there's your elbow, and then you're gonna always have probably this little shape here. That's your epicondyle. Okay, so you can see that your bone is coming here. Okay, as it, you know, here you've got this would be your radii, and then this would be your ulna. So it goes around your humerus. And of course, this little bump right here, that's always, you can always, it's always going to be your little finger. Always going to be your little finger. Okay, and then your thumb is going to be opposite that. And then of course, if this was to the right here, okay, that part, that would be your radius. Okay, radius, you know, it's like inside, that's the inside, that's the part that moves around the inside half of the circle. If we went all the way, that would be the diameter. Okay, and then this would be the radius. So the radius is going to rotate around the ulna. Okay, this big giant part will be rotating around the ulna, and depending upon which way this is focused, you know, your hand could be flat, your hand could be you know, what is it, sideways, or hand could be where you see the palm. All right, so understanding kind of how that works kind of tells you, you know, how to orient the sides of your arms, because you know there's fronts and backs of your arms. I mean, your biceps are on the front side of your arms, and then your triceps are behind your arms, and then your rib muscles are always going to be, your ridge muscles are always going to be on the outside, and we want to talk about basically two main groups of muscles. Okay, when you're starting this, that you can start with, and let's put in the let's get rid of this, and let's get some people are gonna comment and say, yeah, this is totally wrong. Think of it more as an abstraction, or you know, you're trying to create the idea of what's going on there so you can start to understand it. You know, so it may not be perfect, and at some point you're going to want to look at some references. Okay, so again, what we've got, let's get some black color here. Okay, here, okay, that would be your elbow, and then this guy, that is your ulna. And then this guy in red, that is your radius. So it's a 2-bone system where the radius is going to get wider at the end, and the ulna is going to get smaller. And we would normally, take this into one group and another group, and then we can start to put in our images. And sometimes a lot of people do this as like one piece, and maybe they'll put a circle here, because this area right here, it bends up and down. I mean, your wrist has a little bit of motion, not a lot. I mean it's going to go up and it's going to go down. So there's a lot of little bones in there that make that happen. Okay, so just kind of triangle. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. 1, 2. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kind of get in the habit of, you can kind of create these shapes, or you just kind of create the mitt, because right now we're not really worried about the hands so much right now. What we're worried about is, okay, what is the shape of the bones going on inside, okay? And you don't have to draw this all the time, but I think the more you understand kind of what's going on here, right? So what we're going to do now is kind of think about, there's 3 main muscle groups. Let's get rid of all this stuff. Okay, you know what there is. You can go back and just use this, not have to redraw this all the time. Okay, so we know what our main bones are. We got our humerus, we got our ulna and our radius, and the hand is, that's just kind of a placeholder. So I want to make a new layer, and let's talk about there's 3 main muscles. You have your extensors. What are the other ones? The extensors, the other guys, and then the ridge muscles. Ridge. Wonderful spelling. Ridge. R-I-D-G-E. Okay. And let's look at the layer here. And I thought, this can get really, really complicated. And unless you're going to be teaching, you really don't need to know what the muscles are. Although it's helpful, because it may help you remember. But one of the main things what you want to think about, okay, and let's take this down a little bit. And let's try blue. Get some blue. Light blue. Okay, is that the muscles are going to attach, okay, at your epicondyles. Okay, they're going to attach here and here. And what we're really thinking about is the muscles down here. Okay, the muscles of the forearm. Because I think that's what a lot of people have a lot of trouble with. And what you want to know is where the muscles start and where they end, and that's going to really help you. And then later, when we look at kind of the muscles of the upper arm, it's going to make a little sense. So the muscles in the back go to the top of the hand, and the muscles go to the bottom of the hand. Okay, that's kind of how it works. And then you've got your ridge muscles, which go in the center. Okay, so let's look at this again, and I need to look at my reference. Okay, so I've got a hand, and the hand, okay, is I see the top of the hand. All right, so basically from the outside, okay, the outside. If I grab my color, red, okay, there's going to be a set of muscles that they come from the epicondyle, and they come down, and there's a few of them, okay, and then they stop, and then you see the what are these things? These are the tendons. The tendons from the muscle, and it's not just one muscle. We're putting this big muscle here. Okay, these tendons are going to go down into the fingers. Actually, let's get a different color for the tendons. I'm sure this is just so wrong. Everybody's like, you know what you're doing. Okay, these muscles are going to go down. The tendons are going to go down into the fingers. Okay. Okay, so you have these muscles which help you bring your fingers, I think, back out. So when this muscle condenses, it gets smaller. It's going to tighten these and basically bring your flay your fingers up. Okay, it's going to make them go up. Okay, so you've got that one group there. Okay, and I'll get the names of those later. Right, all right, and so the other set of muscles are going to start from the other epicondyle. Okay, and they are going to come around, right? Might be a little bit big. You're going to attach, and they're going to go to the palm. They're going to go underneath these guys, okay? And if I let's see, let's take this guy and go back here, and let's see, let's straighten it out a little bit, and let's say we're going to rotate. So now we're seeing, okay, this is the palm, and see a little bit. So you can see what's happening is that the radius has rotated this way. Okay, so it's rotating over the ulna, or under. Yeah, over the ulna. Okay, and so that now we have, we see the palm of the hand. Okay, and when we see the palm of the hand, we'll then be able to see kind of what's going on, and you've got this set of muscles. Okay, you've got in the palm, you've got all of these tendons attaching. Okay, and so we've twisted, and let's see how it goes. It's the ridge muscles are going to be over here, but they're all going to go to this guy, and some people like to call it a bullet shape. Okay, so they're all attaching there, and underneath you'll normally see the tendons, and the tendons are going to, there's three ones. There's 1, 2, 3 that show up under at the wrist, and not everybody's going to see those. Okay, but you're gonna see that, and then of course the other one is going to kind of bend back around that to the top. So you have these two muscle groups, and then of course you've got the ridge muscles, okay, which we'll talk about later. That's you've got well, no, let's kind of look at it now. If you see down, elbow bone, epicondyle, down, okay, so basically you get the idea. So here's my ulna, which goes to that, that creates your elbow bone, and then you've got your humerus, and that's creating your two epicondyles. And those three objects, those are points when you look at your art and your drawing, you're going to see those points kind of protrude. Okay, and then the muscles from the outside. So the ridge muscles, okay, everything, it's nice and symmetrical with, you've got the muscles coming from here and the muscles coming from here, and one's going to the front, one's going to the back. So it looks symmetrical, but then you got these ridge muscles, okay, which attach up here. Let's get different color. Okay, and then, okay, and they go around the inside. Okay, which gives it that now it's not symmetrical anymore. Okay, that when you start drawing your things, you got the it's no longer symmetrical, right? That's gonna get you original. See, a lot of the old cartoons, you'd see them. See this little bump right there. That comes in. That's those are your ridge muscles. Okay, so that's kind of going to get you started, kind of understanding, kind of in the forearm, what's going on with these muscles. Okay, and what you want to understand is, okay, what's the structure going on, and a lot of people, you this is only going to take you so far. Okay, you can pose a character with your stick figures, but at some point kind of understanding kind of what's going on, and maybe expanding your stick figure a little bit more, as to how you can get all those pieces, and yeah, a lot of times it's like you start drawing, and you start with doing these type of things, and you don't have to keep doing it, because at some point it just looks right. But the more you kind of understand kind of what's going on underneath of the skin, where the bones are, and how the muscles are attaching to the bones, when you start posing your characters and you start building, which is what I'm into. I want to build things. Sometimes you want to look at things for reference, and it's like, oh, what does that look like, and can you pose for me? And that's great, but the more you understand what's going on underneath, the more you're going to be able to really abstract and just kind of run by getting your characters to pose and understanding kind of what's going on, and giving, I don't know if I would say it's always just a sense of realism, but back to movies, that that idea, that suspension of disbelief, that you're trying to get somebody to believe that this, whatever it is, this mark, this thing that you are creating exists in the world that you are setting them in, and that there are some kind of rules of the universe in this place, or this abstract, whether it's realistic, cartoonistic, impressionistic, but this kind of universe, this kind of place, this feeling that you are trying to create, convey, express, that there's some rules to it, that they just don't change, like a slasher movie, just people just get arbitrarily killed, and at some point it's boring, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, okay, well, this guy is omnipotent, and they can do anything, and they can't be stopped, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, that it doesn't seem real to me. I don't believe it. Or even in when you start thinking about color, we'll talk about later. The colors just, they don't match, or they contrast, or it just, does that color belong there? Or did you even think about that? And this gets back to what we kind of talked about before. It's like, you've got to work it. You've got to understand. Like I said, we don't draw to reflect, but you reflect on your own work. You edit your own work I mean, is it what you're trying to say, or is it a step in where you're going? Because what you're doing is not going to be perfect. I mean, if you're going for perfection, I don't know, you may be disappointed. But if you're building something that seems to work, and it in its own little world, it seems like it makes sense. Because you're starting to understand some things about our world, and kind of putting them into yours, and you mix and match, and sometimes it's like you surprise yourself. You're looking at something and, oh, I can't believe I did that. Or you look at it to start off with and it's like, oh, I don't like it. But then you come back and look at it with fresh eyes and you say, wow, you know what, that's pretty cool. I was onto something. I mean, it's not all about being perfect or looking like something else. Some things you're gonna find your way, and a lot of that, it comes with working the problem. And I think that's probably true in any profession. You gotta work it a little bit. You gotta. Where's it gonna go? What are you trying to say? And sometimes you might say something unconsciously that you didn't know before, and that only looked at it, it's like, oh, that's kind of interesting. So that's kind of working for me. It's like, I didn't even know I did that. And I only had to kind of look at it with fresh eyes. And everything you do will take you to the next step. I mean, just because it didn't work, there might be something that works, and then you can always kind of use it to kind of go somewhere else, or use it as a starting point for something else. All right, so I think that's all we're gonna do today. I'm gonna maybe do another one on the forearm muscles, maybe try to clean it up a little bit, and then talk about the muscles in the shoulder and the scapula. And please don't think that I'm an expert. I abstract things, and always what I'm trying to do is trying to understand, so that I can get my work to a place where it gets to that point, that suspension of disbelief, that within this world, okay, wow, it's like, I'm gonna get past the fact that this is drawn on paper and it's not real, and get into the story, and get invested in these characters, because in their own little world, it's like, it seems like they're real in their world. They're not just thrown together. There was some thought behind them. All right, so hey, you know what? Like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000. When I get to 1,000, then I will start, posting my animation, and start showing you kind of the stories that I'm working on, and hopefully the stories that you see you will be interested in, and I get enough people looking at them, and that will help me keep keep going. It's been great. Thanks a lot, guys, and hey, you guys all have a great day. Okay, let's stop this thing. Find it.